in this first game of the night. This will be something to add to the 82 checkout he had in the last leg. It's going to be tops for Darren.
89.
Very close. He thought it was in.
Require 40.
When it's left his hand, he probably thought it was in.
Is this one? Double 10.
Game shot.
A very good performance, and he thoroughly enjoyed that one. A really, really good game from James Van Bezien. 50% on the doubles, and look at that. He knows that he's only got 8 games in this group, and every win will be key for him to get into the finals with Brian Rahman. 95.87 and that 50% on the doubles. He punished Darren Webster early and never relinquished that lead. A really, really good showing there from the Belgian. When we come back, we'll see the champion from Series 5, Week 8 in Chris Quinto. He'll be taking on the person who was second in Group A, Kurt Parry.
Kurt, you require 42.
Double 16.
Game,
well, there you go.
And the match.
That really is
Parry.
quite spectacular. He's just equaled his best average of the entire week. When he gets it right, there are not many better. 103.66 with 80% on the doubles. And he's just sent a message to everybody here in Week 10. Kurt Parry might even be the man. He's just taken out a former weekly champion who didn't play badly at all. Look at that. He only got 5 dots at a double. But Kurt Parry really was excellent there. And now Tom Lonsdale has got to follow that as he takes on Darren Webster after a game that only took 6 minutes and 10 seconds.
Tom, you require 122.
And he take 4 18s in the bullseye. It's difficult to get the extra 3. And the blocker
54
did no good for him.
Darren, you require 59.
Double top.
Game,
what a great game that was. And we did break 10 minutes in that one. Only just 9 minutes 46 for 6 legs. I think he enjoyed that one. It was a great response after losing his first game by 4 legs to 2. But now he's got to win by that same margin. Same sort of standard from Darren Webster. High 80s, but it has got him the first 2 points of his Super Series campaign there at the expense of Tom. When we come back, it will be Van Bezien, who is by far the slowest player in this group. He's up against Quinto, who needs to bounce back after losing to Kurt Parry.
Made the right call.
98.
I agree. $5 up for grabs in the next couple of days.
Game,
and Quinto might just make his way to Saturday with darts like that. That really was an excellent display from Chris. 96.62, the average in that one. A great improvement in the result in that game compared to his first one. But if you consider that is about a quarter of a point different to what he threw in game 2. And the difference in the result is vast. So he walks through to round number 3 with a win and a loss, but averaging high 90s for the night. Van Bezien, we'll see more of him when he takes on Kurt Parry in game 7. When we return after the short break, it's going to be Parry and Lonsdale. Well, get your stop clocks out, everybody. That one's going to be fast no matter how many legs are there. Title.
Yeah. Certainly a name that I'm familiar with.
180.
Your sources weren't telling you porkies.
100. Darren, you require 98.
Double 19.
Game
hello. 11 darter.
Darren Webster. Chris, you require 111.
2 from 6 on the doubles. Quinto, 2 from 3. Treble 17. Tops.
Biggest start of the match.
Game
and it hits. A wonderful ton plus checkout from Chris Quinto.
Thickness of a wire away. Maybe it's Webby's turn. No, can't find the requisite treble 20 to go for double 18.
48.
Well, he's already had 4 now to win the match.
This is not the best game that we've had tonight.
Shots and the match.
Average-wise, but as a contest, it really was insatiable stuff to watch over the course of 11 minutes. My word, Darren Webster will be wondering how on earth he has lost that game at times. But Chris Quinto had match darts in 2 different legs. He really did stick to his task well, and he's the one who goes to 4 points after 3 games played. He's got 1 match left against Lonsdale, and he will be the first to complete his quarter tonight in Game 8. When we come back, it is that game between Van Bazien and Parry coming up. Can anybody stop Kurt Parry? Is it the person he played with again in Group A? Let's find out. He hasn't been finding them early enough. He's been putting things right tonight, though.
So far tonight, he's been at 50% in that particular match. He was at 44.44%, 4 from 9. Very, very good in a game that wouldn't have suited his rhythm. But he still picks up the points and he tops the table. He now moves on to 6. He is 3 from 3. When we come back after a very short break, Chris Quinto back in action against Tom Lonsdale.
60. Chris require 80.
Double 10. Equaliser.
Game shot on the second leg.
Not called Denzel Washington. He's called Chris Quinto, and it's 1-1.
With him at the bar.
400-metre track, and I just keep running.
Game
shot, there it is from Lonsdale. He's got the points that he wanted, and he has an opportunity to double that as well when he plays against Van Bazien in Game 10. That was a tricky contest. Even though Quinto did tail off towards the end, you've got to give Lonsdale credit because he was around there to take the advantage of the situation. And it's another game tonight that has been won against the darts. That makes 7 out of 8 games won against the darts tonight. Remarkable. When we come back, it will be the last game of the night for Kurt Parry up against Darren Webster. You do not want to miss that one.
Kurt, you required 32.
For the perfect campaign on Thursday.
Game shot.
We go into the early hours of Friday with a defined leader. 8 points for Kurt Parry and 1 win tomorrow in his 4 games. He will qualify for Saturday night. That was arguably his worst performance of the night. And when you consider what he's done this week, that is saying something. Darren Webster is in trouble. He's only got 2 points overnight, but he will respond, I'm sure, come Friday. One more game coming your way before we end our campaign for the day. Lonsdale will take on Van Bazien. I wonder what's going to happen on that. Nothing in the way. Speaking of tops, not going to be top of the table at the end of the session.
Game
but he has hit tops for 3-1.
James Van Bazien.
The fact that he's missed it, it means that Van Bazien could finish this off. And he does finish it off. An impressive performance from the Belgian, who wins his first and 4th games of the night. And that means that Tom Lonsdale will be bottom of the table going into Friday night's final qualifying round in Group B. As for James, he is going to be second overnight and better off than Darren Webster and Chris Quinto. He's going to be full of confidence going into that second night, that's for sure. But it is about Kurt Parry. He's got 8 points overnight. That's what you've just seen. The last game of the night is won by the Belgian. And as we go to the stage, we will hear more from Chris Mason and from Abby Davis. I've been Paul the Asset Nicholson. It's good night from me, but it's one more hello to Abby and Chris.
Van Bazien will be full of confidence going into the final night of Group B action. What are the main things that he'll have learnt about his game over the course of this week?
That he can compete. Started off very well in a great win against Darren Webster. Sort of lost his way with a couple of 83 averages in the middle, and just the pace of that one I felt was always going to affect Tom. There was no rhythm, and we've seen that in spells tonight he's been at his best when he's had a good dance partner, and tonight he wasn't going to get that in James.
Yeah, let's have a look then at the 10 results that we've seen over the course of tonight's action. And it was Kurt Parry who went through the card. You mentioned the rhythm. He certainly had that tonight. And even when he took on James, he found a way to get through that match. Really impressive, all aspects of his game tonight.
Yeah, he showed a different level to his game that maybe wasn't there in Monday in long enough spells. And he handled the situation really, really well without sort of getting bogged down or getting involved in the sort of speed or lack of it. And that's been key to his night. I think mentally he's been super strong. He's played at a beautiful level, and he's finishing tonight 46% for the session. That's right up there. If he'd have been those kind of numbers in Group A, he'd have won Group A.
And it was really interesting to hear him say when I spoke to him a little while ago that he took a look at the TV before the night got underway, saw he was favourite and thought, really? Really raised an eyebrow over that, but he showed he's got the level.
Yeah, the numbers we had. So we had a big enough sample, 15 matches in Group A. And like I said, he was the highest level in terms of performance, averaging 89.5. And when I looked at everyone else's numbers, no one really come close. And a lot of the other players, they've had the Challenge Tour last year. They've had a much bigger sample to get a sort of general idea of where their game's at. That's why I fancied him to win. And I felt that if he could clean up on those doubles, he was going to be the man to beat. And every now and again, a broken clock is right twice a day.
Yeah, and by and large, Chris Quantock's level over the course of tonight has been really consistently high, isn't it?
Yeah, he'll be one that probably goes to bed tonight scratching his head thinking, well, how wasn't that better? But listen, you keep knocking on the door, you'll eventually get it down. And yeah, it's just a case of not coming out tomorrow and trying to improve too much. Sometimes, if it's not your night, it's not your night, and it certainly wasn't for him tonight.
But it certainly was Kurt Parry's night. We can have a look then at the league standings at the halfway point in Group B. Confirmation that Kurt Parry won all 4 of his matches. His leg difference is looking pretty healthy as well, isn't it? And then James Van Bazien and Chris Quantock level on 4 points. A bit of reflection on Darren Webster's evening.
Yeah, I think it was one of those really. Being beaten in the opening game probably put him on the back foot a little bit. He came out, played very well in his next match, and he lost 2 games 4-3 that will leave him thinking, where did it go in that last leg? And it was almost like the panic button was pressed every time he got to that 7th and deciding leg, like he was pushing just a little bit too hard. Everyone else is in the mix in terms of P2 and 3. Everybody has the opportunity tomorrow. It's not like you've got 3 players out in front and you've got a big group separation. Everything to play for.
Yeah, things are very finely poised in both groups B and C. And tomorrow, our Field 4 finals night will be complete. First, of course, it'll be Group C. At the moment, it's James Wilson who sits top of the table, having won all 5 of his matches today. But the question is, can Connor Scott scurry his way into a qualifying spot?
Oh, yeah. Love that. And so does he.